It's a whole new look for Adelaide and a whole new world for football. The new Adelaide Oval, the first home game here for the Crows, and it's a sellout. 52,000 Crow fans expected, an AFL record in South Australia expected today. There won't be a lot of love in the house for the Swans today from the 19th man. Fantastic to have your company today for the AFL's match of the round. Your host, four-time Premiership Hawk, Jason Dunstall, with Adelaide Premiership icon, Mark Prosciutto.
Yes, thanks Dwayne. Massive crowd here at the Adelaide Oval. So we see the Swans coming out on the ground. They're winless in 2014. And in fact, just 3 wins from their last 10 matches, taking into account the last part of 2013. Things getting a little desperate for the Swans, and they need to get back on track today. Massive crowd room here. The only spare seats I can see are actually up in the Mark Prosciutto stand.
Yeah, my family aren't here yet, Jace, but they'll be here shortly. But what a wonderful day for footy, as we're joined by the Sydney Premiership coach, John Longmire. Welcome to the show, John.
G'day, boys.
Now, Horse, need to ask you, I know you're not prone to panic, but you must be a little concerned over the form of the last couple of weeks.
Well, we were sort of really concerned after round one. We didn't play very well at all against GWS. We thought we got back to a bit better form last week. What we didn't do was last the distance as far as our form continuing for the 4 quarters. And we thought that for probably 2.5 quarters last week, we played some pretty good football, but we've got to do it for longer, obvioususly.
What about the players themselves? What's their attitude been like throughout the week?
Their attitude's been pretty good. I mean, we get in and review the game like we always do. We look at the areas we did well. We did a few more of those a bit better last week. We look at the areas we can improve, and we get to work during the week and prepare for the Crows. I mean, they hit the front last week in the 3rd quarter as well, so we look at the Crows at their best.
What about the midfield, John? Looks like it's just dropped away a little bit in there over the last 8 to 10 games. It's just not quite as successful with the hard ball gets and the clearances.
Yeah, it's probably, we look at what's happening this year, and we've got a bit of a change of personnel in there, which has been working for us at different times, and we'll continue to blood those type of players through that midfield group, and that's what we will continue to do, try and put pressure on the opposition, and then there's no doubt the battle is won or lost most often in the midfield.
Yep. John, appreciate your time. Good luck today.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
All right, we can see the Adelaide Crows coming out. Does it get loud down here when the Crows hit the deck? Mind you, there's been no joy for them thus far in 2014 either, Roo. Look, a tight loss to the Cats down at Simmons Stadium in round 1. But even though they were competitive for nearly 3 quarters last week, it ended up being a 9-goal hammering at the hands of Port Adelaide.
Absolutely. Both games, they've got back into it in the 3rd quarter and then been run over. And one area where it's been really, really costly is the turnovers. Their skills, their fumbling, their kicking, their decision-making. 14 goals for against Geelong and 16 goals against Port Adelaide. Can't afford to do that. They're the worst side in the competition at using the ball at the moment. It's got to change.
We've heard from John Longmire. Now the opposition camp. Cam Mooney is caught up with Adelaide coach Brenton Sanderson.
Thanks, Jay Sando. Before we get into the game, mate, how amazing is this atmosphere? I know you played here last week, but your first home game here at Adelaide Oval must be incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, last week we were here for an away game, but the noise was just incredible, and it's great for our fans in a sellout today. We're going to really love playing here, so yeah, great to finally be at Adelaide Oval as the home team.
Now, you brought in the changes this week. I spoke to you a little bit previously about why you did that. Can you explain again why you've made so many changes?
Yeah, well, 5 changes. 2 of them were forced, with McKernan with a concussion and Brad Crouch with a broken leg, but we've sort of just changed a little bit of the makeup of our squad this week. It's probably a few more guys who tackle, chase, pressure, rather than those, sometimes you can get seduced by the outside ball winners, but today we've hopefully picked a contested ball team that can win us the inside ball.
And young Matty Crouch makes his debut. I know he's sub, but fantastic effort from the young man.
Yeah, it's a game that really suits Matt Crouch. He's a hard, contested inside player. We're starting him as the sub, but he'll certainly have an impact once he gets on the ground.
All right, good luck today, mate. Good luck.
Thanks, Vince.
Thanks, Moon. Some really interesting comments there from Brenton Sanderson as we take a look at the Adelaide lineup. He's picked a team to get inside, to get the hard ball, to tackle and chase, not the pretty outside stuff, Root.
Yeah, well, they've been flogged inside. It really has to start in that midfield, and that's why Petrenko there. There'll be a lot of pressure in the forward 50 with him and Betts there as well. You can see Hartigan down back, a young kid. He'll get a big job down back as well.
Now, the Sydney Swans, just a couple of changes to them. They do lose Sam Reid and also Craig Bird, but LRT's actually certainly an important inclusion for them, I think.
Absolutely. Flexibility amongst your players is critical. He can play back, he can play forward. He's a big game performer as well. We've seen that in grand finals, Jay, so expect him to play a big role.
A lot of interest in a couple of key individuals today as well. Some of the stars of the game that perhaps haven't found their very best form yet. Paddy Dangerfield is one. When we take a look at his averages, they're down from last year in all categories. Clearances and inside 50s in particular, they're hurting Adelaide.
He's a superstar, he's getting heavily tagged, but he's making bad decisions at the moment as well. Expect Patrick Dangerfield to go back to the basics today, win the hard ball, run as fast as he can and kick it as long as he can. I think you'll see a better performance out of the Danger today.
Tough conditions the first 2 weeks for Buddy Franklin, and also Sydney's form hasn't helped him, but he's managed to gather 24 possessions for a return of 3 goals 2 over the first fortnight.
He's a big game player, he's a big man, he shaved his beard as well, that's a good sign, Jace. He would have looked out the window today and saw blue skies and no wind. Expect Buddy to have a good game today.
All right, it's the Adelaide Crows and the Sydney Swans, both winless, looking to get the ball rolling for their 2014 campaigns. Join us on the other side of the break for all the action from the very first bounce.
Picture perfect conditions, could not have asked for better here at the Adelaide Oval. Saturday afternoon match of the round. Both teams searching for their first win of the season. Both teams searching, of course, for their first ever win here. The Adelaide Crows playing here last week but going down. So it's been a horror start to 2014 for both of these lineups, but at the same time, someone is going to get back on track today. And someone is going to finish today 0-3. Massive repercussions this afternoon for the loser of this contest between two teams that were believed to be contenders pre-season. Adelaide Crows with the recruitment of Eddie Betts, James Podsiadly, Patrick Dangerfield in the middle, and the toss won by Jared McVeigh of the Swans. And that silence will probably be greeted with every little win the Sydney Swans get this afternoon as we head back downstairs to our 3-time premiership man, Cam Mooney.
Thanks to Arnie, you're spot on. It's absolutely gorgeous day down here. Packed house today, completely sold out. Really looking forward to a massive game. Like you said, the repercussions for the loser are quite big. Today I'm going to look at the forward line and start off with, I'm going to look at Adelaide. Both forward lines are struggling. But if you look at Adelaide, look at the numbers here. The 7th for inside 50s in the competition, but they're only 16th for scores once they get it in there. They're really struggling to mark the ball. They've only marked the ball 21 times inside 50 this year. You compare to sides that have taken it around 30 at the top sides. Now you go down the Sydney end, they're virtually the same, only the 10th for inside 50s in the competition, and again 15th for scores inside. They're going to Buddy a hell of a lot of times as well. Only 16 times they're going to him. The next best is 4 times with Pike, so they need to mix it up a little bit. I suspect Lewis Roberts-Thompson will spend a little bit of time down there trying to get another inside 50 target for them. So really looking forward to that battle today, guys.
Thanks, Moons. I was really taken with the forthright, honest comments from Brenton Sanderson when he just said, speaking about the makeup of the side, he's picked blokes that'll go in, go hard, chase, tackle, do all those sorts of things, rather than the blokes that look good with the outside ball. So that indicates straight away Adelaide are going to come out hard. They are going to be breathing fire. They are going to smash in. And that's the very area that Sydney have been lacking in the first 2 weeks through. Their contested footy, their clearances have been poor by their standards. So we're going to have a pretty aggressive start here, I think.
Jason Dwayne, as a footballer, you know, you could be out of form, but sometimes you just have to screw it up and perform, don't you? Sometimes you have to go out there, no matter what's happened, you have to get out there and you have to find a way to win. And both these teams are in that situation today, because zip 3 is not where you want to be.
Absolutely. Full house here. Both these teams are quality, make no mistake. Two of the biggest names are not the two biggest names in the game. Dangerfield and Franklin.
Yep, Taylor and Franklin.
The first home game for the Adelaide Crows at the Adelaide Oval is underway. Ball knocked down initially by Pike. He got his own clearance, kicks in the Franklin direction. Got there. Good effort from Talia, just bumped him at the opportune time. Derek's handball didn't find a target. We expect it to be hot early. Kerridge swoops. Dangerfield, the man we spoke of, gets his first touch of the afternoon. Little flick on Petrenko is clever, back into the lineup this week. Eddie Betts couldn't make something of that. Sure, Hanbury, it is a slick start. Kennedy, Rampy. A bounce pass to Franklin, straight through him. Derricks and Rutten get back, some big turn circles there. The truck with that monster turn circle. Got it to Talia, gets it back, hands it back to Yench. To Dangerfield to set it all up. Iffy handball, Brown made it okay. Back to Yench, heads wide, and we can all take a quick breath. Smith at half back.
It wasn't as clean as that like, but they got the numbers and they've got to move it quickly here.
Douglas looks up. Jenkins back into the lineup this week. He's got 2 to beat, no one to give it to. Kennedy.
Gee, it was a poor kick from Richard Douglas. They were away there, just had to hit Jenkins.
Grundy to Shaw to McVeigh. Some poise here. And now the runners for the Swans. Good effort from Smith.
Good grab.
Plays on quickly, puts it in Franklin's direction. Bang! Oh, he wanted to take right out.
And could have.
Yeah, he could have, legitimately, you're right. And Wright stood his ground, and that might be a statement. Sloan long. Podsiadly. Flicked away from him by Richards.
That was clever from Ted Richards. He watched the hands of Podsiadly without actually interfering.
Yep.
Parker with Brown. Hanbury has been down. Wright wraps him up, takes him to ground, keeps it between the legs. Had no prior opportunity there. Has to be a ball up.
Here's the mark by Matty Wright coming back. He knew he could have got thumped, and Buddy. That's probably the rule changes now. Go back 2 years, he would have absolutely nailed him, but there's too much risk for the high contact.
And he has got some form in that area with the bumps being high, and he's probably learned his lesson. Talia knocks it down. Rutten running off half back. Nice movement, McKay. He wanted the 1-2-3. All the way back. Douglas from Riley. Jenkins. Nice play.
Too many handballs, Jace. Do you think he should have kept running and went longer, or you're happy with it?
I think he just picked the easiest option. Mind you, he nearly missed it too for the second time in a row, Douglas. He had Jenkins clear, but good early signs from the Crows, handling the ball well.
Betts stayed down, Sloan stayed down, they could raffle it. The opening goal.
One thing that is never ever underrated in this game is keeping your feet. When the whole pack goes down, all the Sydney players were out of the contest. He had all the time in the world to pick this up and just stroll into an open goal, Rory Sloan. Have a look at them. There's 3 Sydney Swans players and they go down like 9 pins. All of the Adelaide players, they were queuing up to kick that one. Keeping your feet is as vital as any part of this game.
And Rory Sloan's been in great form. He's having a real crack, the youngster, and rewarded with a goal.
Crowd in full voice there. We're expecting 52,000 this afternoon, and if we get that, it'll be a record for an AFL game in SA. Kennedy, the clearance specialist. Free kick, holding the arm, so Lewis Roberts-Thompson, who's also back into the Sydney lineup this afternoon.
Sam Kerridge running with Kieran Jack as well. Tagged by McCaffer last week, Jack, and now got Kerridge.
He ran into Douglas, got away from him in the end, but it put some pressure on the kick. Jacobs, this hammers it clear in hope. Well read, Eddie, and the good spin. Little kick works. Sloan buffeted it out of it. Eddie goes back in, kept his feet. Douglas, they're on here, Adelaide. Pass target, Pods was missed though. The mark taken by Grundy. SA boy back home, a Modbury boy. Back to a ground he would have gone to as a kid many a time. O'Keefe. Okay, Lance Franklin on 50. And not on a bad side for a left footer, although we know he bends the ball the opposite way to most.
Well, it's in range as far as I'm concerned. He loves kicking them from this distance out. Jace, you've seen it more than us. He's 50-50 from here.
He's been the target of every kick going forward thus far. He's competed, he's worked hard, so he'll be blowing.
And that's everything Hawthorn didn't want him to be when he was there, wasn't it?
Could this tell the trend for the Swans this afternoon? Strikes it okay. Nobody does it better from that distance on the left than Lance Franklin.
Well, great kick by Buddy Franklin. That'll do his confidence a world of good. Here's the kick by Douglas. They're turning the ball over more than any other side in the comp. Now, that was just about an impossible kick, though. Yeah. Now, the forward line have got to take some heat for this because he had no one to go to there at all. So just tried to find something. But here's O'Keefe getting himself into the game, giving a Buddy a pretty easy catch there on the lead. But a beautiful kick from just inside 50. But he could be set for a big day, Buddy. Conditions will suit. Yeah, 1 goal each from turnovers at this stage. Both these sides in the first 2 weeks totally uncharacteristic with their turning over of the ball by foot and by hand.
Ball up, it'll be tossed in the air. And the restart, Derrick's the palm down, and they get the clearance. Jack inside 50. Pike got a fingernail on it. Brown caught. Did manufacture a handball. Laird got it back. Talia hammers it wide. Sloane, bouncing ball. Laidler back into the lineup for the Sydney Swans this week. Jeremy Laidler after playing round 1.
Pretty interesting matchup in itself. Laidler on Sloane at this stage.
Ben McGlynn is running with Dangerfield at the moment. I would have thought that's extremely unusual as well. He's leading their goal kicks. Mind you, only got 3 McGlynn at the moment, but running with Danger, that's a different one.
Has done some good run with rolls over the journey, because one thing Benny McGlynn has got is an outstanding tank, good pace and can run all day. So he'll be having a crack. He'll be working him physically as well. He's one of those nasty little blokes too.
And speaking of McGlynn, he gets it from O'Keefe to Kennedy. Not what he wanted. Sloane didn't really travel the required distance, but paid the mark. Quick play on. Thompson. Some spaces ahead.
Jenkins has got a lead for him here.
Long. Wright's going to have to go for it. Grundy should get back. Wright jumps on him. Not on his back. McKay just dragged down on the kick. Still Jenkins. Not quite.
Had a chance there, David McKay. Just a little bit slow getting boot to ball. Probably thought he had more time. As we watch on the replay, swoops on the open ball. 1-2. Yeah, you got to be pretty quick these days.
McVeigh. Rutten out-muscles Pike.
Oh, he's paid the push.
Or is that 50 then?
Oh, you got to give him a little bit of leeway there. I think everyone thought it was a mark, Dwayne.
So the umpire was wrong?
Well, everyone except the umpire. That's a push. It was a push, but I think we all thought he was paying the mark.
Yeah.
Is what I was trying to say.
Pike to the wing. Jacobs up. Knuckles on it. Ball out of play. Massive players around this ball in here, but that means plenty of space for the team that gets it free from the wing, and Douglas tried to do that. Bumped on the kick attempt. Parker jumps in, gets it out. McVeigh. Good desperation from both teams at the moment. Malcheski, who likes to kick a long ball. Lewis Roberts-Thompson, who was kept low. Play on the umpire calls again for Parker. Wrapped up by Laird.
Yeah, Laird had a great year last year. NAB rising star, back into the side today for his first game for the season.
6-zip the clearances in favour of the Swans, so they've rectified that from the first couple of weeks.
And they're about to make it 7-zip. McGlynn, McVeigh, Laidler. Not quite a clearance though, smothered. McKay to Yenchel, caught a little high. Accidental. And not a bump really, he was just holding his ground.
Oh, did he just say you're on report?
Okay, so it must have been deemed a bump by the umpire.
He signalled the elbow, the umpire, when he went to McVeigh.
They hate anything in the head.
Yep.
Snap 5.
Absolutely. Jacobs. I'll show you a replay when we get some time. It's been a slick start to this contest. Eddie Betts, he read it okay, he's left it behind. Hanbury, Grundy.
Gee, they're on in the middle.
Malcheski, O'Keefe, Shaw is what he likes to do. Wanted to keep running, gave it wide. Mitchell, Jack, it can be run down. Back to Shaw, to 40, drives it towards goal and misses.
I wouldn't want to waste too many opportunities while they're winning the clearances, doing everything. Have a look at McVeigh. Well, he braces for a bump though, doesn't he? There's not a lot in it, but the top of his shoulder just tipped the chin, didn't it?
I guess if you hit the head, you're in trouble, aren't you?
Flirting with danger.
Riley pokes it. Shaw. Oh, blinded by the sun, yes. Got to give him that out there. Thompson. Shaw past Kerridge. Betts. Podsiadly working up. Goes long to Sloane. He's got a couple to beat Sloane. Thumb clear by Rampy. And the safety of the boundary for McVeigh.
Not having a lot of numbers back at the moment, Adelaide. Let's have a look at Shaw here. Just couldn't see it. Absolutely, definitely the sun in the eyes there.
Different ground for the players to get used to, of course. Adelaide one game here. This is the Swans' first ever journey to Adelaide Oval. Douglas.
A clever kick.
McVeigh put his head down. Sloan was clever with the wrap-up. Dangerfield through some legs. Douglas feeds it out into some space. Hardigan also back into the lineup this week. Heads wide. Yench, who's been in pretty good form the first couple of rounds, goes to Eddie in the pocket. Missed him. Rampy. LRT. Smith.
Good kick.
Franklin comes up. The boos.
Not a great kick though.
Hardigan.
Can't kick at 80 metres, can you, Jace? But if he got it over the back, it was on. But
he's looking dangerous early though, Franklin. He's moving well.
Plenty of space for him, isn't there?
Douglas. Podsy Adley. Clever palm down. Got it to right. Knew was there. Knew he couldn't mark. Now inside 50 to Sloan.
Oh.
Good grab. Stood his ground.
You won't see R03 Sloan duck his head or take a small step. He's as tough as they come.
And he plays on quickly.
Don't know that it's an easier kick. I mean, it's slightly closer, but on a little bit of an angle.
And Grigg, he's on the good side for a left footer though. He normally kicks left.
He's suggesting Sloan didn't want to take the shot route.
No, I'm trying to tell you he's a left footer, so it opens up the angle for him. Just trying to help you, Jace.
Oh, what's wrong with kicking it from directly in front though? I don't think it's an easier kick.
No, okay.
1,254 goals. Jason Dunstall, third all time.
Good kick that left footer. He's very good.
He's a good kid, so's R03 Sloan. Can't have a crack at him about his effort. There's the Podsy Adelaide.
He struggled with the sun as well. It's obviously an issue for the players down that end of the ground.
Well, I guess at this time of the day, around 2 o'clock, the sun's pretty much straight above the head, so any high kick is going to come into play. Here's Sloan just copping it.
The other reason he was able to chip it over, no one stood the mark. Both Rampy and Laidler just walked away.
Rue, it's so important for the smaller guys to be able to take marks inside 50. I spoke about it earlier. They're just not marking it in there when our pod's playing up the ground with Jenkins in the ruck. They need these smaller guys to take those marks, and it's so good when you know you can trust these Sloans and Dangerfields and types to take those marks.
I think in all sides now, with the midfielders rotating forward, they have to be able to do as much as possible, whether it's take a mark or whether it's crumb, and they need to do, they need to actually hit the scoreboard when they're in the forward line.
Kennedy long. Riley got in the hole. Franklin tried to break free. Good attack from Thompson. Wasn't his ball, but he made it his. Riley goes back. Yench. Laird from the stand start. Swans have the numbers. Kennedy ridden a little by Douglas. Got it out. Shaw. Flick pass. Smith caught high.
Yeah. Thompson and Kennedy going head-to-head in the midfield, boys.
Yeah.
So 2 big balls in the midfield. Kennedy's had 5, Thompson's had 3. It'll be a good duel.
As this entire game has been so far. Franklin again the go-to man.
Gee, he had 15 metres on Talia. Talia just let him go out there.
McLean. To where Franklin would like to be. Parker drops in the hole.
That's interesting, just looking at Talia's tactics there. It was virtually saying, if Franklin goes well outside 50, I'll let the players upfield put pressure on him, and he dropped back for where the kick was going to go. But
He was
that's
in no
risky.
man's land though, wasn't he,
He wasn't
Jason?
far enough
I
back.
think he knew he was done. And he just said, well, I hope he doesn't do too much here.
From 20 metres out, Parker levels the scores.
Well, at the moment, it looks like the game we kind of thought it might be. 2 teams that are just desperate. They both desperately need a win to get their season kick-started. And they both started pretty well. There's the high contact. A little bit sloppy.
Yeah.
Then the kick comes in, and you just saw Talia at the top of the screen. Wasn't far enough back. He was in that no man's land. But that's a good leap from a little player. He's just realised that Rutten and Lewis Roberts-Thompson were doing a bit of body on body. Allowed him to virtually mark uncontested.
Good player, Luke Parker. Really one of those young players that John Longmire spoke about in the warm-up that just want to get him more time in the middle.
Dangerfield a clearance. Good hip and shoulder, but Thompson went for the chest mark. Could have gone with the hands initially. Now Chesky to Shaw. No one can get there for the mark attempt. Good gather in the end by Dangerfield. Gave it back. Rutten to Laird. Back towards half forward. Get a ball in. All square here. Brenton Sanderson working in the box.
McGlynn still running with Dangerfield. Kerridge, after a good job on Boak last week, running with Jack.
Flick down Jacobs. Oxley came up. Made it tougher for his own man, Dangerfield. Jack. That's a throw. Thompson the free.
There's the two we were speaking about before. Thompson and Kennedy, both been really good players for their respective sides over the last few years.
Yench, leading possession getter for Adelaide in the opening 2 weeks of the season.
If they move it quick, they've got them, but they'll have to do it quickly.
Talia, he spotted an option wide. Again, it was too slow. Crunch. Two Swans came hard. Rampy and Pike. Pike comes up with it. McKay couldn't keep his feet.
Franklin one out, and he's got Rutten as an opponent, so he's going to get on his bike and just lead.
Cunningham to Franklin. He's coming up the ground to get his possessions, but he is having a big influence at the moment. Inboard, Parker also having an influence. Laidler, Mount Chesky, turnover, Dangerfield.
Just slows it down for a moment, Paddy Dangerfield. Maybe not a bad thing either.
Be pretty hot out there, Jace. We were feeling it just on Fox Footy. Imagine running around out there.
Greg dropped it. Thought he got one high. Kennedy to Pike. Manufactures a kick of some sort. Parker almost made it okay. Caught high. Maybe within range.
A little bit clumsy from Paddy Dangerfield, and Luke Parker certainly made the most of the contact as well. It's a chance to kick his second.
Kicking for the lead for the Swans. They have not led in this game so far. 18 minutes gone, tight opening term, match of the round. And for the first time today, the Sydney Swans are in front.
That was an absolute bullet of a kick. He kept it low and just went bang from outside 50.
One of those that doesn't spin so quickly. They carry. They really carry, don't they? You can obvious high contact. I mean, that's very sloppy from Patrick Dangerfield.
Yeah, absolutely, and cost them a goal. Yeah. Won't want to look at that on Monday. A good start by Parker. Really good start.
Big contested possession winner, Luke Parker. More contested possessions than any other Swan in the loss to Collingwood last week, and that was another hard-fought possession there, copping one to the ear from the ball up. Questions being asked of the Crows now all of a sudden. Hardigan, Yench, Riley, Rutten. Space to use, didn't want to go forward.
Well, he didn't have any options leading up at him, that was the problem.
Brown, now he has Petrenko, good grab. Umpire said he didn't hold it long enough.
Must have been close.
Right on the borderline. Back into the side for his first game. Should give him some defensive pressure up there, but would like to take a couple of grabs as well.
All those Adelaide players are leading straight into the sun when they come up the ground like that.
Kerridge quick on the boot. They can reset with another ball in. Could not have asked for better conditions. It's warm, but it is absolutely perfect. Fantastic venue now, the Adelaide Oval. And a fantastic surface. It's always been one of the best.
He's going to pay this
against
the
Australia.
It's against the ruckman for the punch that went out.
Isn't it supposed to be on the full? Or
yeah, but they can still play a deliberate knockout if it doesn't look like it's going forward. I think it's a tough decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's not an exact science when the ball comes off the fist for a ruckman that's grappling with somebody else.
And if it doesn't get touched. Mitchell to half forward. Good fly, and the mark paid to Smith.
good player, Brodie Smith, re-signed for an extra couple of years throughout the week, had a big impact in the showdown. You'll see him today try and run forward and use a really penetrating kick to try and break the zone.
Back to Riley first, to the middle. Jacobs, and now Smith again.
Here he goes.
So he's got Jenkins running back to the square, wants to get around Derricks, had to go back. Rutten Floats it up long. Jenkins out of position now. Petrenko thumped it to Jenkins. Back into position. And he can't nail the kick on the full. Free kick.
Brodie Smith would have been wishing he had a good left foot there, Chase.
Just needed to keep going rather than pulling up through the middle of the ground, didn't they, the Crows?
It is amazing that players don't have a get-out-of-jail 40-metre kick on their opposite side these days.
That's all you need, really.
Thompson, McKay. Jenkins.
In-step talk. A low spiral dart. Pretty hard to stop as a defender.
First game of the season for Josh Jenkins. Back into the lineup, made to get into the queue behind Jay Pod, Alex Johnston, Sean McKernan. Johnston and McKernan not playing this afternoon, so it's over to you, Josh.
Got a good kicking action, Josh Jenkins. He's got plenty of upside, I think. Hasn't played a lot of football in his career.
Goal umpire did a lot of work there, only a behind. Cam Mooney on the boundary.
Well, Dwayne, this is where Adelaide really need to put the foot down. Over the last 2 weeks, Sydney have been terrible in time on. So from the 20-minute mark onwards, in every quarter the last 2 weeks, they've given up 87 points, which is the worst in the competition. So this is the time that Adelaide really need to put the foot down, like I said, and get some points on the board.
Yeah, good call, Moons. 22 now gone, 4.5 left in this opening term. Riley, Jacobs, Brown, McKay, almost run down. Pressure on the kick though. Douglas will make it okay. Sat for him. To Yench, the runner. He wants to come back. He doesn't want the left. Douglas.
Swans have been good at chopping off the upfield options. It's making the Crows stop prop, go laterally, go short. And they look like they've got momentum going forward. They've been stopped a number of times.
Jacobs the delivery man now to Kerridge.
Jenkins has got to give him a target.
Well, at the moment, there's not a lot of confidence in just kicking it towards him.
Yench long, big pack flies. Petrenko and Richard stay down. Little nudge.
Having said that, I mean, you've got to give Jenkins every chance. He's had 2 opportunities to kick goals in the last couple of minutes. If you kick straight, all of a sudden you're away. You get 2 in the first quarter. Your teammates' confidence rises in you, but you miss them both. It's amazing the difference it makes.
Jetta hasn't seen a lot of it yet. He wants to run, and now the space.
Waving everyone away. Gee, he could have gone inboard to Jack.
Nice kick though. Cunningham runs to 40. This is great transition. Amazing stuff, Sydney Swans.
That was good run by Sydney. They took it on with the leg speed of Jetta. He was the one that set it up, and gee, that's dangerous. You see him at his best a couple of years ago where he'd just do the slingshot when that come into vogue. But look at this, he could have gone inside. There was an option in there for Jack. Didn't see it, went long, and fair enough too, because Rowan was on big sauce Jacobs. What's he doing back there? He shouldn't be the anchor player at all. It needs to be a more versatile, more flexible player, but he got caught out there and Sydney got the goal.
Biggest third of the game now for Sydney. Harry Cunningham. After it was set up by Jetta from the fence. A little bit of vintage Swans there. Parker, Hanbury, they've got their mojo back. Jack hammers it inside 50. Lewis Roberts-Thompson thumps it down. Cunningham again. Same spot. Scintillating football. And no one's wild about Harry here. 2 in a row.
Well, that was a brilliant goal to back up another good one before. Let's have a look at this again. This is as good as it gets from a half-forward flanker. Ball comes down, one bounce, got a bloke up his backside and twirls it back brilliantly. There's a very, very high chance of not nailing it. You have to actually kick the ball perfectly to bend it back from 50 metres out. And that is just brilliant. That is copybook. That was a bit like Cyril Rioli last night.
Well, he's an interesting player, Harry Cunningham. If we remember back to round 1 when Ryan O'Keefe was originally dropped, John Longmire said we need to bring in blokes with pace like Harry Cunningham. He's starting to show a bit now, isn't he? He has got some leg speed.
Parker flicks it back, pushing them back. Crows in a spot of bother here. And this happened to them last week against Port Adelaide, late in the opening term.
And for that reason, Dwayne, Paddy Dangerfield's just gone and plonked himself in the defensive 50. He's just going to play a kick behind play and try and slow things down.
Chesky could go for home. He can kick a long ball. There's no one in the square. Just a fingernail.
I don't know how adept he is at playing that loose man in defence, Dangerfield, because the ball just went over his head then.
Well, when you're that loose in defence, you're better off being too far back than too close, because you can always come at the ball. But if you get caught under it like you did there, then you're in no man's land.
Hardigan. Talia on the wing. Good pluck.
Hand in the back. Just used it to hold him out, just to keep Franklin where he was, but that's being juggled over the boundary line, that mark. So that'll be a throw-in. But you cannot put a hand in the back, and there you put them both on the back. You can't do it. That's the letter of the law.
I thought you were allowed to these days as long as you didn't push.
No.
Haven't they changed it?
No, they have allowed more latitude in body on body, but you still can't put hands on the back. I asked Wayne Campbell that only last week.
Okay.
Parker outside of the boot. Now sitting inside fifth, the chaos ball.
You never did. You made your own anyway.
McKay to Laird. Don't have to worry about pushing in the back when you've got the ball, Roo, which
you had all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
This is another example of Sydney just taking away the upfield option. So they're going short, they're going sideways, but not taking ground.
I think it had more to do with the fact they're changing the rules quite regularly now. I can't keep up.
Laidler on Sloan. Crowd wanted a free kick. And McGlynn can line up, and this will hurt. If they go in at quarter time with a 4-goal lead, that will sting.
They'll start having flashbacks from the last couple of weeks, won't they? Noted goal kicker, equal with Buddy on 3 before the game. Been a good pickup for Sydney.
To the boos. You'll hear some silence here. That looks good off the boot. Sydney Swans lead by 4 goals.
Right, well, what Sydney are doing at the moment is they're being more efficient going forward. Adelaide have had more possessions. It didn't look like there was anything in that between Laidler and Sloan. He just kept his feet. More possessions, Adelaide, and they're using it better. But they're all little chip kicks down back that aren't going forward. Sydney are being aggressive. They're being creative. They're taking a few risks going forward, hitting their targets. And more importantly, when they get the opportunity, they're converting now in front of goal.
$52,000 Adelaide Crow fans here. It's like a Wes Wally picture, trying to find one person in a red and white beanie. And they are absolutely silent right now. 4-goal leaders, the Swans. Derrick's in the ruck. Jenkins gets the takeaway. Hammers it wide. Richards read it beautifully. Marks on defensive 50. He probably knows how long left.
And that's the problem with Dangerfield at the other end. You leave a spare Swan, and they're the masters of using the extra man in defence.
Well, when you got that, Lucy, you just got to use the ball going forward, don't you? Can't just bomb it in.
Yench with the fist to the back. 18 seconds.
Well, what's Brenton Sanderson going to say at quarter time now? Right under the pump he is at the moment. 4 goals down at the first quarter. Big decision's got to be made.
Jenkins in the ruck. Flick up handball. Malcheski. Will Franklin get there? Can't go for the mark. Ball hits the deck. Talia. Couple of seconds to wipe off the clock, and they can reset the Adelaide Crows. Dangerfield. Laird.
Well, that's a great start for Sydney to come over here winless, face a packed crowd here at Adelaide Oval. To do what they've done has been absolutely outstanding, but you can bet that Brenton Sanderson will reorganise his troops at quarter time now. So it's 1 quarter down. Big tick for the Swans, but they've got 3 quarters to go.